Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about, okay, are you ready for it? Are you ready? We're going to be talking about Avatar The Last Airbender, Aang's Destiny.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Very brief, very...
Done.
Yeah. You have to say that every time...
Succinct, to the point, you know exactly what the game is about.
And every time we say it, we're going to say that full title, too.
The full title. We're going to say Avatar The Last Airbender, Aang's Destiny.
With dramatic pauses.
We're not going to do that. But anyway, we just want to let you know that this game is designed by Pat Marino and is published by The Op. But before we go into this game, we just want to remind you to subscribe so you can see all our videos as they come out. We do top 10s, we do vlogs, we do skits, we do everything. Make sure to subscribe.
Alright, so there was a deck builder that came out a long time ago from the Op called Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. We went through it. We loved it. We went through the expansion, Monster Box of Monsters. And in that system, it was this really awesome deck building game that kind of went through the 7 books of the Harry Potter series. And
Cooperative deck building.
Yeah, it was full cooperative. Yeah. Alright, so then they used that same system again for the Toy Story IP, which is awesome. And then now here they have kind of put all the pieces, everything they've learned from all those previous games, all the previous expansions, all those everythings to make Aang's Destiny.
You're supposed to say the whole thing, right? Avatar, The Last Airbender, Aang's Destiny.
Oh my goodness, I don't think I can handle that anymore. I'm done saying it. I never want to hear those words again.
The game.
Alright, so using that system, we're cooperatively going through the plot of the story of Avatar. So basically we're all individual characters. We all kind of have our own separate starting decks. They're all asynchronous and have special abilities. If you're familiar with the Avatar world, we, or some of us, might even be benders, or airbenders, waterbenders, things like that. So I don't want to give away any spoilers, so I'm not going to talk about too much of the actual details, but we are these characters, we have asynchronous decks, and we have different ways of approaching how to make the best out of these turns. But every turn, we are going to be facing a series of bad guys, and we're going to be going to have the Fire Nation coming after us, and they're going to do some horrible things to us as well. And we also have some objectives that we're going to have to meet as well. So not only have to defeat the bad guys, we also have to meet these objectives. It gets more and more complicated the more you go on. You kind of go through these 7 different boxes, and each one of them kind of follows the story and follows the plot of the show. So as you're playing the game, you might be introduced to some characters as they were kind of introduced in the timeline of the show, but then maybe as they were kind of taken out of the show, they're taken out of the game as well. So you're kind of following that plot pretty truly to the storyline. But in addition to the chronological order of the game, or the show, it's also getting more and more complex, more and more challenging as you're going on. And once you finish the 7th box, you get to rest assured you have saved the world.
And you ended the 100 Years' War.
That's what I'm at.
Yeah, by saving the world. So this game is very challenging. It is very challenging. I enjoy that. I don't mind losing a lot in a cooperative game. I do mind losing a lot in a non-cooperative games. But I lose more in those. But anyway, you do lose a lot in this game. The game wants you to finish or to successfully complete a chapter before you move on to the next one, before you open up the next box to see what's in it. And you will definitely, I can't see anybody playing all 7 just like that and winning them right away. I just don't see that happening. It is very challenging. I enjoyed that challenge. You're definitely going to be playing these games over and over in order to beat that level so you can level up to the next one, unless you're cheating. If you're cheating, then you might be able to do it.
Or just have like the world's most perfect cards at the perfect time every time.
Yes.
Which is
like
cheating.
It's cheating.
Yeah, I think that the way they kind of spoon-feed it to you, though, is really nice. Especially if you're not familiar with the deck building concepts all that much to begin with. They give you that first mission to just give you the very base level of everything. So that you can kind of learn how deck building works. You can kind of get familiar with the plot, the story, how that all works, as well as kind of the base level mechanisms. But then each box, you're introduced to another mechanism making things more involved, more complicated. And also every time they make things more complicated, it's inevitably making the story more challenging as well. but you're also given more and more tools to work with. So, for instance, the characters kind of level up themselves. New cards might be added to your decks permanently, in addition to temporarily throughout the course of the game. There might be some permanent cards that are added to your decks as well, and other special abilities that you're able to gain. New cards that you're going to be able to buy eventually. New powers that you might learn as as a bender or whatever. So there's all kinds of things that kind of, as the game is getting harder, you also get better. So that way, and you're more familiar with the system. So it kind of all works together, in complexity, in strength, and in challenge. It all kind of grows together, which is a really nice kind of arc to the game.
Ryan mentioned this in the introduction, but it does follow the story really well. One of the things that's fun with that is that you will have cards or characters that are introduced, and you only get to use them for boxes or chapters 2 and 3, and then they're gone. So you actually have to go through, because in the TV show, that character's there and then they're gone. Or maybe there's an item that's there, but it's not there until later, so it doesn't show up until later. You don't get it from the get-go. And I really like how, as the story progresses, these cards are going in and out and in and out. There's a little bit more upkeep because of that, because you have to see what cards can be used for everything. But it is really cool to see how that happens and how different characters actually get characters or get things into their deck as well as the game progresses that actually makes sense to them as a part of the storyline. So it's just really cool that as the game carries on, you're seeing the story come to life.
All right, so one of the cards that you can buy as a deck building game are these bending cards. Bending cards are used by airbenders, waterbenders, firebenders, whatever the case is, in order to do special abilities. Now, that being said, you can still buy these cards. They kind of have two halves to them. The first half is available to anyone who buys that card. But the second half of the card you can only use if you have that bending skill that matches that bending card. So if I'm not a waterbender and I bought a waterbending card, I'm not going to get the full use out of that card. So it's maybe not the most strategic move for me to get that. However, there's also these allies that you can buy and draft. These allies are going to go into your deck, and then you can choose to, instead of using them as their actual abilities throughout the deck, you can put them in kind of this reserve area, and then you get to take on their bending abilities. So now, if I'm a waterbender, I bought an airbending card. If I buy an airbender from the row and put that onto my board in my reserve area, now I can use the full card for its full benefits. So I like how, even though some cards start off better or worse for certain characters, eventually you might have the opportunity to use other cards as well for their full ability.
Yeah. All right. So overall, right, this game and the other two games that came before it, Harry Potter, for me, I just really like that world. I understand all the stuff. So if I were to compare just these two, I think that I would like the Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle more, only because I'm more familiar with that world. But if I'm being completely honest, I actually feel like this is a better game. This is just a lot smoother. A lot of the issues that, Ryan and I did house rules for that game, for Harry Potter, that was just implemented as part of the gameplay in that through the benders. A lot of the little tweaks that we had to make was just part of the gameplay in this. So I do think that this is a better game. I just like the other one more because I like Harry Potter, but this is actually a better game. It took a lot of the stuff. It just made it smooth. If you like Avatar and if you like deck builders, it's kind of you're just going to like this game. You will.
I agree with that, but I also think that it can get a little bit frustrating knowing that you have to repeat these missions multiple times. If you're not someone who's used to playing tough cooperative games, it might get a little frustrating for you. I know that we had some of that when there's one mission in particular that was I don't even know how it's possible. This is insane. So just be aware that's the thing that can happen. So you have to play it a lot of times to get through that. Unless, again, you're either lucky or cheating. I think that also it can get a little repetitive too. There's a lot of steps in the game, and you have to follow each one. You have to flip over these first cards, and you have to check to see these cards, and you have to check these cards over here. Then you can start your turn, and then it's kind of all rinse and repeat over and over again. There's not a lot of variety in your turns, but there is some excitement in building of your deck and things like that, like in all deck builders. But the turns themselves are kind of repetitive. I really like the way the plot tied in perfectly with the game. I think that was incredibly smart and brilliant. It worked just kind of very similar to the Harry Potter. You have the 7 books, the 7 characters, the 7 items, all the different things that worked really well here too. dividing up the plot into these 7 books, and so that way you kind of, or 7 boxes, that way you're unboxing them in chronological order. I thought that worked out brilliantly.
Yeah.
It was really fun to see certain characters like, oh, we're at that part now, or, this part, we're introduced to this character because of that one scene. Remember that one scene? I really liked that part of this whole thing. So, yeah, Bethany said it right. If you are a fan of Avatar, if you like those deck building games, this kind of puts them together really, really nicely. You're going to be immersed in that world in a way that I think you're going to find really satisfying. Just realize that you're going to be frustrated at times, and that's okay. You're going to reset, learn from what you lost at, and then do it all over again.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.